Alright, so a quick video here today. New flight controller here from AXISFLYING. It's called the ARGUS Pro. 55 amp 4-in-1 AC plus F7 flight controller. This is going to be for like your 5-inch and larger quads. The Pro means it has like the heat sinks. The non-Pro version doesn't have the heat sinks, so I'll put some photos up here on the product page, or from the product page, of what those look like. Anyways, I'm going to take a quick look at this, and I'm not sure what kind of build I'm going to put this in, but there's the packaging, some of the specs here on the back, weight, size. I think these are the 30.5 by 30.5 M3 holes, BLL 32, and the target is AXISFLYING F7 Pro. So it comes in a nice case. You can see the nice large heat sinks there, 4-in AC and flight controller. And so the other side here, you got your XD60, whole bunch of wiring loops. It looks like this one has a lot of plugs. I think this is in that similar style as the iStack that came up before, but I think that one was the heatsink enclosed both the flight controller and the AC. I think these obviously are two separate pieces. Alright, so here's the ESC, very hefty. I'll show you the weight here in a second. Nice large pads for your battery lead, and it is on both sides, nicely labeled. Yeah, this aluminum CNC heatsink is very hefty. So obviously, yeah, it looks like it's probably screwed on here to hold it in place and sandwiches the ESC. So I'm not going to be able to take a close look at the FETs, but I think the non-Pro version just doesn't have the heatsink, so the board looks the same. So if I'll show those pictures again if you missed that. And then here's the plug. Camera's having a hard time focusing because these are really tiny, but they have your motor leads. You got your ESC telemetry, ESC current, and then ground and battery. It looks like the ESC should be oriented like this. Motor 1, 2, 3, and 4. Front of the quad here, back of the quad here. M3 holes, 30 by 30. And then you have your motor wire pads here on both sides, top and bottom. 55 amps, 4-in-1, 32-bit, 3 to 6S. And here is the F7 flight controller, not as heavy as the ESC. All the plugs and everything are nicely labeled. Looks like this has looks like outputs for motors 5 through 8 here on a plug. So if you're running an octocopter, which is 8 motors, you can do that with this particular flight controller, no problem with that extra plug. And you got your other plugs there, video in over here, video out over here, and then these. So these plugs here are for these labels, and then these on the top on their side are labeled on the other side of the board. LED. You have UR2 here. Yeah, or UR2. This looks like a 9-volt port here for DJI right here. You have your 9-volt ground, UART1, and then the R2 is, I think, the S-bus. SDA, SCL for your compass, and then the T3, R3 UART is for GPS. This is going to be for, this port's for your GPS and your compass. And then you have solder pads here, and these are labeled motors 1 through 4, and this says ESC telemetry and battery, etc. over here. On the side, you have these, I think these are LEDs here. So you have status, 9-volt, VCC, and 5-volt. Alright, so in terms of measurements, the flight controller is about 9.8 millimeters thick, 40.8 in this direction here, 40.5 in this direction. And then here's the ESC, 43 here without not including the battery lead or the battery pads, 40.6 and with including the battery pads, and then this direction, so 46.6 in this direction, and about 9 millimeters thick. Alright, here's how much the 4-in-1 EC weighs, 30.9, and then the F7 flight controller, 19.3. Alright, so looking at the accessories, you got your capacitor there, you have 4 M3 screws, long screws for your stack, all your rubber grommets here to dampen the vibrations of the components, the flight controller and ESC, large XT60 connector. These, it looks like 14 gauge wire there, and of course all your different connectors there for the ones that I showed. They're all labeled on the flight controller. So that's pretty much it for the flight controller overview. Anyway, I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. That'll do it for this video. Talk to you guys in the next one.